Hello, everyone. My name is Heather, and I have the great privilege of being the founder, leader, and coordinator of a girls' support group in Faro called Girls' Night Out. I started Girls' Night, or GNO, as the girls call it, in 2006. Every Wednesday evening, we gather, and as the girls cross the threshold of the door, they transform. They become comfortable. They become real. They giggle and wrestle and stuff their faces with brownies and nachos. They come in their jammies with messy hair and raunchy humor. They come eager to learn, to share, to build friendships. We have learned a lot together. Joined with women inside and outside our community, we have made mittens, sausage, lip balm, sushi, body butter, earrings, bath bombs, and journals. We have been horseback riding, rock climbing, whitewater rafting, downhill skiing, canoeing, hot tubbing, bungee jumping, and out to Giorgio's for garlic prawns. We have learned about sex, drugs, alcohol, smoking, pregnancy, drunk driving, healthy relationships, bullying. We have traveled to Vancouver. We have been to the ocean to breathe the sea air. Through GNO, the girls have taught me so much about resilience, strength, bravery, and the immense power each one has to create change in communities. I have discovered a thirst for girls' activism, for equality, for education, for promoting girls and women as champions in a global shift in power. Adolescence was a confusing, emotional, and mostly upsetting time for me. I found I questioned everything about myself and how I fit into my world. Everything that was part of me, everything my parents instilled in me, who I was, what was I doing here, what I believed in, what my values were, everything that made me was put under a microscope. Because I was questioning everything about myself, and I didn't really know who I was or what I wanted to stand up for, I experimented. I learned through trial and error about love and sex and boys and drugs and alcohol and risks and choices. This recklessness did damage to the core of my being. It put me at risk. It allowed things to happen to me that hurt me. I believe that it is so important for girls and boys to have someone who believes in their greatness other than their parents. When I tell the girls that I work with that they are beautiful, that they are smart and resilient and funny and so valuable, I see that for a moment they believe me. That fills me up with hope and a strong belief that I am making a difference. I am showing them that their education and their exploration of the world are so very important. It is so very important for the world to have more girls leading the way. From infancy, girls are bombarded through the media with images and clear expectations about what they should look like, what they should play with, what is cool and what is not, what is sexy and what is not, what their friends should look like, what clothes they should wear, how they should smell, what they can expect to be when they grow up, how they can give love and be loved back. Most of these messages sent to our girls through the media, through families, through other girls, through our whole culture are based on girls being inferior, lower, lesser, second-rate citizens. This feeling of being less has a long, complicated history. And although women have made great strides towards equality, we have fought hard for human rights and freedoms. The feeling of being less still sits quiet. It still haunts. It is still part of every girl's life on this earth. Our culture dictates impossible expectations on our girls. When they can't reach that expectation, when they can't step on a scale and see a certain number, when they can't make their faces look like that photoshopped magazine cover, when they can't be that perfect dancer or singer or actress, of course they feel failure. Girls can't see that movie star or that celebrity. They can't see that beauty because of the mask that our society has placed over their faces. They have learned from an early age to always compare, to look outside of themselves, to learn that they will just never measure up. They have learned to feel less. We need to teach girls early on that our culture and its unrealistic expectations of girls, it's all messed up. That actually those movie stars and celebrities and commercials and magazines are portraying a fake and unattainable perception of beauty. Actually, when you think about it, our culture's portrayal of women, it's ugly, not beautiful. Women should not be used to advertise and sell product. We should not be used to advertise and sell sex. We should not be used to advertise and sell unrealistic and unattainable expectations. When girls are shown the ways our culture portrays women, when they begin to understand what a farce it all is, when they see how we are being exploited every day, they start to find their power to change. We have to show girls that their beauty, it's already there, right in front of them. It's not something they have to work for because they already have it in the palm of their hand. The best way to show girls their own true beauty, the best way to discover and promote their own unique awesomeness is through the creation of a space, a safe, girl-only world where they can remove the masks and be their true selves. When you put girls together in this kind of space, they discover that they are all going through similar experience. They discover that through supporting each other through adolescence, they find affirmation, kinship, deep connection, and common experience. When you gather 15 girls together in a room, and within that room you establish trust, safety, confidentiality, and understanding, girls will start to reveal themselves. Out of those 15 girls, several have experienced sexual assault. Several have been physically and emotionally abused. Several have been caring for siblings while their single mother is struggling with substance abuse. Some struggle with schoolwork. Some struggle with eating disorders. Some want help with birth control and being safe in sexual relationships. When girls discover that there are other girls in that space that are struggling with the same issue, when they can talk about it and support each other in it, they find they are no longer alone. They are no longer powerless. They discover the ability to seek out the strength that comes out of struggle. There is much healing for girls and women when they find solidarity within a sisterhood. Northern girls exist in some of the most remote places on Earth. A couple of times this past month, we were the coldest place on the planet. We don't realize how isolated we are until we get a chance to leave our communities to travel, to get on a plane, to leave the Yukon. Our communities are unique to the rest of the world, and though girls here growing up here face many of the same issues, we do so in isolation and without resources. In my community of Faro, for example, there is no resident doctor, no social worker, no dentist, no counselor. There is no movie theater, no bowling alley, no hairdresser or spa. We are 400 kilometers from a ski hill, a Starbucks, a bookstore. There are families in our communities that don't have the resources to leave it. There are many youth who have never been bowling. They've never had a haircut at a salon. They have never had the garlic prawns at Giorgio's. There are youth who have never been on an airplane. They have never seen a building more than 4 stories high. They have never stood on the shore of the ocean, breathing in the sea air. Girls and women in northern communities are especially vulnerable. The territories have the highest rates of substance abuse, systemic addiction, sexual assault, and broken families than anywhere else in Canada. In the Yukon, 1 in 4 girls is sexually assaulted before they turn 25. 1 in 4. Most of these sexual assaults, these rapes, are committed by a family member. Dads, uncles, brothers, cousins, or friends of the family. Less than 10% of these assaults are reported to the police. They aren't reported because they are unspeakable acts of violence. They are shameful. They are secret. Rape is so rampant that it is a common experience for our girls. When we are raped in our small communities, when we are raped by someone we know, someone we might trust and love, the pain and the horror runs deep. It captures souls. It has the potential to destroy. This destruction happens all over the world, in every community. When girls are hurt by people they trust, when they experience loss and shame and grief, when they stand by and watch things fall apart, something takes root. It is fear and hate and loss. But it is also strength and resilience and endurance. Girls can turn their experiences into power. They can turn fear into bravery, hate into love, loss into freedom. Girls can learn to heal each other, to learn from each other, to stand together, to grow into women who are empowered through their experiences. They can learn how to do this within a girls' support group, within a sisterhood, like our very own Girls' Night Out. Women are mothers. We are the givers of life. We are the teachers and the healers. Women together can raise a generation of girls and boys, a Canada of girls and boys, a world of girls and boys who fight against this violence. It's no secret that our world is run by men. Most of our world leaders are men. Most countries in the world have a man as the president or the prime minister. Our financial world, our corporate world, is run by men. Men make most of the decisions. They hold most of the money. They hold almost all positions of power. This is where we notice that the fight for equality for women, it's still far from over. Most of the world's people living in extreme poverty are girls and women. Most of the people selling their bodies for sex, slaves to the sex industry, are girls and women. Across the world, girls are suffering. Girls are starving. Girls aren't educated. Girls are sold. Girls are beaten and raped. Girls endure the consequences of war. Women aren't in power, and they have little control over changing their situations. I wonder if more women were in positions of power in countries across the globe. I wonder if these things would change. Men have just as much, if not more, to gain by promoting women's equality, rights, and power. Men are also born into a world, a culture, that expects them to be tough, strong, hard. Boys are taught from a young age that they need to be fighters. They can't show emotion. They can't be seen as weak. Almost all sexual assaults are committed by men. Almost all people paying somebody for sex are men. Almost all murders and aggravated assaults are committed by men. Almost all wars are started by men. 94% of the people incarcerated in jail in Canada are men. How do men feel about this? If these facts were reversed, if it was women doing the raping and the killing, if the jails were full of women, I would be furious. I would be sad. I would be overcome with the desire to find a way to change it, to take all the women and change what was happening to us. Most of the men who commit these violent crimes, they've been abused by other men. Many of these men come from broken families where their mother has suffered abuse and violence. Their mothers have been hurt. They have been beaten down. They have been made to feel less. They have lost all their power. As I look at my Geno girls, I see so much potential, so many bright years ahead. I have some high expectations. I expect that they will not give up. I expect that they will not lose themselves to alcohol and drugs. I expect them not to ever live on the streets. I expect them not to sell their bodies. I expect them not to steal or to cheat or to spend time in jail or to forget where they came, because they came from here. They came from this place of promise and hope and great expectation. They are Northern girls. They are Yukon girls. They have the power to show Canada and the world what can happen when women lead the way. If we commit to giving girls a safe space to share, to explore, to discuss, to think critically, to be part of a sisterhood, through that space, they will find the power to lead. They will become teachers, then principals, lawyers, then judges, police officers, then detectives, politicians, then ministers and presidents. If we put more women in power, if we empower women, our world will experience significant change. If our society, if our culture shifts, if we take care of our girls and our women, if we all fight for equality in power, our communities will be healthier and happier. Our Canada will be an example for how we value our givers of life, our mothers. Our world will learn to hold our women up, to place them in positions of power and honor, to make them more, no longer less. I'm going to start with my Northern girls, my strong, resilient, brave Northern girls. We are going to change the world. Thank you.